Hey folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we're going to be playing with Zach K's all-black Gaak deck, which is basically a mono-black tribal zombies deck list, but there's a little bit of a twist. So essentially, I don't know, maybe 6 months or a year ago, I played a mono-black Hogaak deck in Legacy, and it was a lot of fun to try out. And then Champion of the Perished got printed, which gives this deck another angle of attack. So whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, you put a +1/+1 counter on this thing, right? So what if we play this with sacrifice outlets such as Carrion Feeder and Altar of Dementia? And we have recursive things like Bloodghast and Gravecrawler that can keep coming back. I want you to imagine a simple board of like a Champion of the Perished, a Carrion Feeder, and a Bridge from Below in the graveyard, right? You play a Gravecrawler, you sacrifice it. You put a counter on Carrion Feeder. You got a counter on Champion of the Perished for playing the Gravecrawler. You then trigger Bridge from Below and get another counter on Champion of the Perished. And then for every mana that you spend, you can go and dump 2 counters on Champion of the Perished and 1 counter on Carrion Feeder. Okay, that's pretty sick. So our idea is to have these like tribal zombie / graveyard synergy things, and eventually use our graveyard to go and fuel Hogaak. We might not be quite as turbo at powering out Hogaak as a green-black or another multicolored Hogaak deck might be. We're not going to have Satyr Wayfinder here, for example. We're not going to have like Dryad Arbor to fetch out to give us our other creature for Hogaak symbols at sometimes. But this should be a pretty good amount of synergy. We are also playing Putrid Imp in this deck list, which in addition to just being a zombie to grow Champion of the Perished, it also can go and discard some of our Bloodghast, Bridges, and Hogaaks for some value. Kind of the one card in the main deck that I'm unsure about is Phyrexian Tower. Phyrexian Tower is going to be really sweet when it's good and really bad when it's bad, and ultimately I don't know what that means about whether or not it should be in the deck list. So for example, let's imagine that like Gravecrawler, Bridge from Below type scenario again. If we sacrifice a Gravecrawler with a Phyrexian Tower to get 2 mana, we can then replay it twice as long as we have another sacrifice outlet like a Carrion Feeder or an Altar of Dementia, which can get pretty silly in terms of growing a Champion of the Parish. Our sideboard is pretty simple. This deck list was originally submitted to me with Leylines of the Void. I changed those to surgical extractions so that I could go and plan on beating decks like Doomsday by casting a discard spell and then surgically extracting their primary win condition. I thought we were going to be a little slower than a lot of opposing combo decks, and we're kind of this weird like combo aggro deck here. So I wanted to make sure I had something to compete with combo decks. As far as the rest of the sideboard goes, I have a handful of Sudden Edicts as uncounterable removal spells for things like Murktide Regents or Ragavans, and then I have a Rotting Regisaur. Well, okay, I might have 4 of them. If you play an uncounterable Rotting Regisaur on turn 3 after playing a couple other aggressive threats, it can get gross pretty quickly. Rotting Regisaur is a card that has a real downside, like a real risk. Hopefully, like our Graveyard Recursion, our Bridge from Belows and stuff help to mitigate that cost. Let's just kind of jump directly into the league. I think this one is going to be a lot of fun. Let me know if you can think of anything else that should be in this deck list. So, for example, there was a 1 of Bone Shards in the deck list to start with that I took out. It just felt really strange having like a singleton removal spell here. Being in mono black gives you some restrictions. There's some colorless sideboard cards like Pithing Needle that maybe could have been in here, but you don't get access to some things like Artifact Destruction. So let me know if you can think of something else that like maybe should be in here. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. There's a lot of fun Magic content coming your way. And if you're a regular, throw me a like before the video begins. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. Okay, I've kept my round 1 opening hand. I have legitimately no idea how to play this in terms of like the sequencing of Mox Opal Painter. Huh, that's interesting. Anyway, I think sequencing this is rather difficult. I don't know that I'm ready to cast Cabal Therapy yet. Like, this could just as easily be some sort of like Ruby Storm-esque deck, and I could just like totally whiff on this therapy. I think I'm just gonna cast a Stitcher Supplier on turn 1, and then kind of, I mean, no, I'm gonna wait. By waiting, I can throw 2 Bridge from Belows into the graveyard after making another play. Painter, I've gotten rewarded. Yeah, okay, all right, Goblin Engineer. All right, so I have confirmed the general deck that my opponent is playing here. That Urza Saga probably represents graveyard hate. Yeah, sure does. Well, I guess the Goblin Engineer did, rather. Okay. I can't really beat an Ensnaring Bridge, period. I guess I can, like, technically mill my opponent out. Never mind, that's not true. So I am going to play a Putrid Imp. I'm then going to go ahead and attack in with Stitcher Supplier and see if I can get this attack in for free. Yeah, I thought I could. Nice. Little things. So I'm going to go ahead and discard a bridge from below. Go ahead and discard a bridge from below. I'm going to cast a Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. And then let's do some milling. Nice. Guess I don't want to always yield to that. There's some things that can happen. Let's name a painter servant here. Magmatic Channeler. Okay. So how am I playing the rest of this turn? Like, am I gonna discard this Cabal Therapy? Or do I want to get, like, Magmatic Channeler and, oh god, I have 2 Bloodghasts. Didn't see the second one. Nice. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna build a board that, like, tries to murder my opponent. Carrion Feeder getting in play is kind of cool. I can play the Carrion Feeder and make a lot of power, or I can take this Chromatic Star out of my opponent's hand. I think I want to get the Carrion Feeder in play. Let's discard the therapy. Target you. Sacrifice that. Get some zombies. Do the whole Magmatic Channeler thing. Nice. That leaves them with 2 cards that I know about. Can't sacrifice anything else right now. So I'll fetch. Grab a swamp. Return that Bloodghast. Play a Carrion Feeder. Now do I just go ham and sacrifice everything right now? I think so. It just gives me so many zombies here. Always yield to that. Sacrifice. I'm just going to yield until end of... Oh, I have to do that individually, sure. Alright, and sacrifice that as well. Okay, this is turn 2. Yeah, this is cool. Okay, sorry, I took a second to take a screenshot of that. Turn 2 with mid-30s worth of power is pretty insane for a mono black deck. So what, this is 20, 28, 32 damage. Pretty sick. That's what I thought. Okay, I think it becomes very difficult for me to beat Ensnaring Bridge. So how am I going to approach this? Like, I can approach this as I'm going to try to kill the goblins that can put this in play, or I can approach this as I'm going to try to surgical extraction things. Trying to mill my opponents out a little weird too, because they can, like, sometimes bring some stuff back. Yeah, don't worry about that too much. I bet my Putrid Imps are my weakest link here. Like, they're very good at discarding the bridge from belows, which enabled the BS that I just did. But I'm guessing, like, some number of Bloodghasts and Putrid Imps can go for whatever angle of interaction I want to take on. I think it's surgicals. I don't know that it's 4. Maybe about 3 surgicals. Like, trims, some Bloodghasts, and some Putrid Imps, and all that good. I don't really know what I do about the Ensnaring Bridge from hand. How is this? What do I do? This is really good with a mana source, and kind of questionable without another one. I think I'm just going to mulligan this one. Okay. This is going to get fucking insane fast. Do I risk it? Like, I'm keeping the hand, but do I risk it on, like, trying to keep both bridge from belows? And just, like, make the champion super stupid? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to keep one bridge and keep 2 lands and kind of see where it goes. Sure. All right. Like, there's all sorts of graveyard hate and shenanigans that I might have to worry about. So my goal now is to, like, make my opponent blow this pretty early on. Future Dimp, sure. I think I'm going to just go ahead and play the thing that is going to attack for an unhealthy amount of damage here. And next turn, I can potentially go wild. We'll kind of see. Oh, black. Okay. So if my opponent has the bridge from below here, not the bridge from below, the ensnaring bridge here, it's quite bad for me. They don't have a surgical in hand at this exact moment. And I can't really remove the bridge from play. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to need to go a combo kill route. And I'm not super great at doing that currently. Let's start here. And see what I can do with these. For a 2/2. There's just a Hoggak Carrion Feeder. None of those things super does anything. Alright. So I guess I'm just going to go ahead and make my land drop. Cast a Putrid Imp. And get in the damage that I can. A shame. If not for this spell bomb, I could get pretty cute this. Oh, maybe I messed up. No, maybe I didn't. So, like, if I discard this Cabal Therapy... No, I think I'm just going to wait. So the thing about this current situation is that, like, my opponent has to sacrifice the spell bomb currently in order to bring back the ensnaring bridge. I'm going to see if I can get rid of that spell bomb here. I'm going to go ahead and discard a bridge from below. And we'll see how my opponent feels about using this on a single ensnaring bridge. I could discard 2 more cards in order to, like, do some cool things here. Let's see if I get zombies. I do not get zombies. Alright, but my opponent does not currently have, oh, multiple Gravecrawlers. Hell yeah. That's interesting, right? Ah. Only. So I can do this cute thing. Where I cast a Gravecrawler and it immediately dies. To grow these. I can't really put this in play right now, though. I think I lose this game. Like, I can try to play it out, but my opponent has, like, multiple Urza Sagas. My, like, opponent has something in play that makes it difficult for me to combo off. I'm going to keep playing, but I expect to lose at this point. All therapy. Yeah. I will just continue this cycle of death and rebirth, resulting in my champion getting 1 larger each time. This is strange. So, like, I don't really care about the constructs. Like, my champion of the perished is going to go and be larger than the constructs my opponent can produce most of the time. But a Plague Engineer is super awkward for me. Ooh, they're floating mana. That's not good for me. Yeah, it's a grindstone. So that probably means that, like, I could be looking at, like, a Painter this turn. Like, make land drop, have 5 total mana, Painter activate, I die. That's okay if that happens. Oh. Okay, sure. I thought that was going to be worse, honestly. Yeah. I can't easily get a second thing into play right now to support this Hogaak. I could play, like, Putrid Imp and Cabal Therapy and stuff to put... Or no, I could, like, play both Cabal Therapies and work towards having 7 cards in Graveyard. Get a second thing in play to play a Hogaak. The Hogaak's not really doing me a ton right now, though. So my opponent shouldn't have a Painter. If they had a Painter, I'd just be dead. They could have something like a Magmatic Channeler. Let's take a peek. I am going to go ahead and name Magmatic Channeler. I hit. I am also going to get that Plague Engineer right the fuck now. Nice. Okay, so how many cards is that in graveyard for me? That's 5 cards in graveyard. Cool. Obviously no attacks are good for me here. Alright. Opponent's going for the Spell Bomb. So they can now do this every turn. Which makes life pretty miserable for me, honestly. Like, when I lose these Gravecrawlers, it becomes less likely that I can play Putrid Imp. And with this Spell Bomb sitting here, I can't get the Putrid Imp in place so that I can get the Hogaak into play. I think I'm approaching the point that I'm comfortable conceding, where, like, I'm just kind of, like, past the point of no return, where my opponent just has, like, the greater amount of value. Not quite there, but I'm pretty close. Okay, sure. Yup. Okay, just more constructs, multiple 6/6. All right, I'm gonna value my time here and just go ahead and concede at this point. All right, now that I know about the Plague Engineers, I am going to get some sudden edicts in here to answer those, and it also just like stops the things that weld. I need to trim one more card. I don't think the therapies are super great. What did I cut previously? Bloodghast, Putrid Imp. I'm only playing 3 altars, right? I cut the 4th altar from the deck. I did. I'll cut 1 therapy. Okay, this has no land. This doesn't quite make sense in terms of, like, a hand. Let's go to 5 and just try to keep something aggressive. Single land. Not what I am looking for. I don't think this hand wins. I am going to go to 4. 4 looks really reasonable. So I probably get rid of Bridge, Altar, Carrion Feeder here. And we are straight up just playing an aggro deck here. Like, I am going to see if I can race my opponent by playing these things. I will not be just crippled by a Plague Engineer, because hopefully I will grow these things before my opponent can play a Plague Engineer. But I think opponent is very much favored. Chromatic Star is fine. I am gonna go ahead and play this. I think growing both of these things is more important than improving my graveyard currently. This is stressful, because like my opponent can also just like straight up play a painter this turn and I can die. All right. So let's attempt Stitcher Supplier here. Yes. Both my creatures grow. Stitcher Supplier happens, Gravecrawler. Okay, so if my opponent makes an Urza Saga Construct token, they will have a 2/2. This would die if I attacked with it. I do not want that to happen. So I'm just going to attack for 3. My god, this would have been a great 5-card hand if I could have, like, gotten to keep 1 more land with this as well, because then I would just have, like, Carrion Feeder plus Gravecrawler going right now. Alright, opponent's at 15. Their life total is going to go relatively fast here, right? Like, assuming they make another construct here, they're at 11. Could get something like a Shadow Spear here to help stabilize their life total. They could just get the Spell Bomb. I know the big question will be, like, will they just junk it immediately? They have a Bolt? They have a Welder, sure. Ooh. I think I'll just take that hit. I think the Stitcher Supplier is more valuable, potentially with Carrion Feeder here. I really want to land Future Imp. I can take the free value and just, like, cast the Gravecrawler here, but I think putting the Carrion Feeder into play is potentially just better. It opens up the most, like, disgusting lines for me on future turns. Yep. And then, like, allows me to Stitcher Supplier block and then sacrifice it. Man, I wish I had 1 more land so this could attack into. Do I want to actually attack in with the Champion of the Parish? Actually, probably don't want to trade constructs here. Yeah, I'll get bigger than their stuff. I guess I could have attacked in with both, traded 1. I just think I get to outsize my opponent's stuff. Okay, well, I probably respond to that by sacrificing this. Maybe that's not true. Yeah, maybe that's not true. Gives my opponent more value with their Spell Bomb if I do. And then, like, I can just chump block with the Stitcher Supplier at some point. Yep, I expected the Carrion Feeder name there. He's... fuck. That was the reason to do it. Okay. So now I get the mill. Returns a Bloodghast. My opponent is absolutely going to crack this Spellbomb. There's no way I get to, like, cast this Gravecrawler for free. Okay, they're going to come in with one construct. That's fine. I'll eat that hit and then hopefully draw a land to be able to do multiple spells in a turn. Okay, yep, that's fine. Yeah, it's very good, but like hopefully I just draw a land, play multiple spells, like Stitcher Supplier into something of note. Alright. Stitcher Supplier. Play it. And mill a whopping 6 here. Hogaak. Hogaak. That's cool. It's not cool. Yeah, so they weld that, which allows them to draw a card. And then they spellbomb so that I can't actually get my Hogaak. That's a shame. Obviously, good play from my opponent here. Are these 4-4 and 3-3? Alright, I think I'm going down. I really needed just a little bit more to get me over the finish line here. But assuming that my opponent plays another construct this turn, like they get to attack with 2 4/4s, and I can't really attack this Plague Engineer if it gets in there. Okay, sure. Everything's blue. Alright, I am absolutely going to be dead to that Duretti on a number of different levels. Like, it can destroy my stuff. Yeah, I'll take this hit. I don't think I have any outs to this situation. Painter's too strong. Alright, I will concede here. GG's. Good showing for my deck in round 1, though. Like, we're not great at answering some of the specific things that my opponent has going on here, but, like, we did some broken stuff that I've never seen before. What a beautiful aggro hand right here. Turn 1 champion, turn 2 champion, and Carrion Feeder. Turn 3, cast Gravecrawler 3 times. Attack for, I don't know, 69 damage or some shit. It's gonna be a lot. Ooh, Mox Diamond. Potentially playing against Armageddon Stacks? Uh-huh. The sadness that I feel right now is infinite. Okay. Okay. I'm God damn it. Alright. Like, do I concede or do I try to win with the 4 copies of Bloodghast that are in my deck that currently aren't in my hand? I'm gonna concede. Regisaurs! Assemble! I need you. I am going to board out some number of 1-drops here, just due to how good Chalice of the Void is going to be against me. While on the play, my Thought Seizes are pretty good. They get significantly worse on the draw. Future Dimp, I suppose, is going to be my weakest 1-drop. I think I buy that. I need to keep in the Altar of Dimensions in case I have to face down a moat. I'm going to cut 1. Then I think I'm going to cut 1 bridge from below. I don't expect my creatures to die unless I kill them myself. Okay, what do I think of this? I really need a second land here. With a second land, this hand is insane. Without it, this hand is only good if my opponent can't play a 1-drop lock piece after I Thought Seize them. I think I'm just going to mulligan and try to... Fuck. Okay. We're going to mulligan again. Oh my god. What did I do? What did I do to deserve this hell? Mulligan to 4. I mean, on 4, I'm pretty much obligated to keep, right? I'm going to lose to a Chalice here. In respect of Chalice, I probably have to keep the Bloodghast in my hand, even though it's, like, very easily the worst card in my hand. Very, very easily the worst card in my hand at that. Stitcher Supplier goes back. No. Like, if my opponent does things that go right, they're going to win the game. I'm going to keep the most powerful set of cards that I can assemble here and kind of hope that it works out for me. Alright. So I have Bridge, Gravecrawler, Carrion Feeder combo if I get a turn with being able to cast my cards. Okay. 1001. 1001, yep. Okay. So I drew... Oh my god, I'm playing Cavernous Souls in this deck. I shouldn't have conceded the previous game immediately. Fuck. I don't think I've drawn a cavern yet. The YouTube comments are going to get me for that one. Okay. 3 balls, obviously very bad for me. Okay. Back for 1. Get ported until I have 4 lands. It's rough. Sure. Alright, so I get ported. Okay. I mean, I have very good cards to cast once I can cast things. But my opponent, between like Port, Wasteland, Armageddon, Suppression Field, things of that nature, should be able to pretty easily obliterate me here, I think. Especially if they get something like a Tabernacle that also just like taxes my mana. I lose to that, I think. Opponent didn't port me. That's weird. What can they do with 3 colorless mana at instant speed? Okay, they're just like, fuck it, you can't cast anything because the turn is here anyway. Deal with it, nerd. I respect it. Do I just concede? Like, I'm not going to beat double Rishadan port unless my opponent doesn't port me here. Wow, what a draw. So this becomes Rotting Regisaur? Buckle the fuck up, folks. Hold on. So, sacrifice Stitcher Supplier. Bridge from Below triggers, giving me a zombie. I mill 3 multiple Bridge from Belows. I use my 3 mana to cast a Rotting Regisaur. Now, every time I lose a zombie token for any reason, I will get multiple Bridge from Below triggers. Huh. Maybe we make this work. Like, my opponent probably gets Graveyard Hate with Urza Saga here. But I'm much more alive than I expected to be. That Singleton Phyrexian Tower has now paid for its place in the deck. What a rip. Alright, confirming. Is it any creature in my opponent's graveyard? When a creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battle, so that will include their tokens, whereas it's non-token for me. Alright, so Soul Guide Lantern will take out a Bridge from Below on my end, and then I'll get Wastelanded. Okay, well, it's got more land. I know they have white mana in their deck. I saw a Plains. I saw it. Okay. I think I just lose this Tangleware, right? This taps down all 4 of my permanents. I take at least 12 damage. Then I tap down 3 permanents and take at least 6 damage. That's 18 over 2 turns. Yeah. I'll take a draw to make sure I'm not wrong here. But I can't think of an out. Yeah, so like I can play a Bloodghast and return that. But like this thing can't block. I guess my out is my opponent like not attacking, right? Like I guess it's not 0 outs. Oh, interesting. So my opponent chose to tap this, which means that they can't use it to just like exile my stuff immediately. That's interesting. What do you have to do with all that mana? That's fair. So I take 14 immediately, get Wastelanded, tap down 3 permanents. Yeah, okay. This one's far enough gone at this point, like, especially with the 3rd attacker. I'm fine just moving on to the next one. Hey, if you've made it this far, you're probably enjoying my content. Please consider doing something to support me, whether it's a donation deck list, just clicking the subscribe button, or joining and becoming a YouTube member. If you become a YouTube member, you gain access to my Discord server, and you can hang out with us as we talk about various kinds of scotches, runs of video games like Hades, and the normal Magic stuff. Okay, that's it. Back to the show. Okay, I have a land heavy hand for round 3 here. So I go Champion, Putrid Imp, and then I have nothing else to do. I think this one's a mulligan. Even though I can get a Bridge from Below into the graveyard, I don't really do anything with it. This hand does nothing. Like, plays a Thoughtseize, and then I have no game from there. So I figured out that I need a reasonable mix of lands and spells in order to do well. On 5, I will keep this. I can have a long discussion about what lands to keep, but I think I'm just going to keep multiple Cavern of Souls here. and just, like, play this game uncounterably in case I'm against a blue deck. The fetch lands are better for if a Bloodghast gets involved. Play Stitcher Supplier. And I really need something here. Okay, a Gravecrawler is fantastic. Little sad to mill multiple Champion of the Perished there, though. Okay. If this is a Prismatic Ending deck, like, this double mulligan just leaves me so woefully far behind here. Yup. The exile-based removal will be good against what I'm doing as well. Awkward. But fine. I think I just want to play this on Cavern. Or on this Cavern on Zombie. Despite the fact that that means that I can't easily cast this Bloodghast. I just fucked up my sequencing there, didn't I? That was supposed to be Putrid Imp off the Cavern that's already in play, then discard Bloodghast, then play land. So that I get that into play this turn. I'll do the same thing next turn, but it costs me 2 points of damage for, like, not doing it. Okay, sure. Alright, that's no shuffle. Yeah, losing those 2 points of damage here sucks. Say Livy. Alright. Really wanted that in graveyard. That's fine. I'm gonna crash in for my 2 points of damage. Opponent could be at 15 here, but I fucked up. Like, it's fine. It's bad. But just, like, the first 2 rough opening hands with just too many lands is the primary reason that I'm going to, like, be really far behind against this deck. Like, not the fact that my opponent, not because I missed 2 points of damage. I'll bash in for 15. Opponent could be at 13. Just gonna kind of mentally keep track just for my own curiosity here. There's a lot of times where I just, like, rip a Stitcher Supplier here and just go absolutely wild, despite being really far behind right now. And I just kind of think about sideboarding here. I don't know what exactly I'm gonna do. Okay. This land doesn't really do a lot right now. I'll get my 3 in. Oh, it's so bad if this pause indicates another Swords to Plowshares. So, like, opponent has 2 jobs right now. Like, clear the board and then play a Planeswalker or equivalent win condition. Yep. Yeah, I'm not even gonna play the land this turn because, like, there's some worlds where it becomes good with a Bloodghast. Okay. Hogaak is not currently viable. I will attack in for 1 point of damage and hope that a Hull Breacher or Shark doesn't jump in my way. It did not. Alright, I'm going to lose my last creature here. That's very bad. My mana's kind of strangely bottlenecked here, and I do kind of want more cards in my graveyard. I'm just going to cast this now. And name, like, Force of Will. It's a card that pretty reasonably could be stuck in my opponent's hand right now. Oh, baby. Double hit. Yeah. Okay. Now, my opponent has cantrips and I don't. I have a much higher threat density than my opponent, but, like, they have cantrips to smooth out their draw in a way that I just don't. Okay. This is worth playing now for me. Purely because I want to use my swamp mana as often as I can. Like, I get 1 use off of this Cavern of Souls when I have a critical zombie that I really want to resolve. Otherwise, like, that's just not happening. Don't think I'll cast that one. Ah, fuck. Fuck. Oh. Stoneblade. So I can beat a Batterskull in some instances. Okay, so let's see what we can do. Play Stitcher's Supplier. I don't need to make it uncounterable right now. There's a Hogaak. How do I treat this turn? I think I just stop. Like, then I can let the Batterskull attack. That's okay. It's good. Yeah. So now, do I go ahead and mill myself? I think I do. Choose me. Sacrifice the Stitcher's Supplier. Alright. Not the hits that I am looking for here. I wanted to hit a Bloodghast or a Gravecrawler there. I failed at doing so. That was a very fast brainstorm. Holy moly. Okay, into a Ponder. I've got some degree of inevitability here. Ponder shuffled, so it's just basically a random card in their hand currently. I will recast this altar. Call it a turn. Yeah, a lot of things have gone wrong here, but I'm not really dead yet. I'm unsure. Just passing here. I wanted to like hit something in the graveyard that I could cast or otherwise bring back, and then like get a Hogaak into play. With the Teferi's loyalty ticking up, things are harder now. Okay, I think this is a Cabal Therapy target myself moment. I think a Cabal Therapy target myself. All right. Sure. Then maybe counterable Gravecrawler. Target me. Sacrifice the Gravecrawler. We're trying to hit like Bloodghasts or another Gravecrawler here. Nope. Just nope. Just nope. Okay. That's my turn then. Yeah, a bunch of my creatures not being able to block here is kind of my downside against this Batterskull. This is a big turn for me. Thoughtseize is not gonna do it. Okay. I die next turn. So like the Batterskull hits me to 2, and then I die the following turn. The following turn has to be just really good. Kind of floundered around here after, what was it? I see 5 removal spells in the graveyard at the beginning of the game. Yeah, that's rough. Okay. Follow-up equipment. Or a Cauldra. Tricky. Bloodghast. Alright. Can't Thoughtseize myself here, I'll die. Can play Altar. Okay. So, I play an Altar using this. Then play Bloodghast. Now, sacrifice this Bloodghast targeting me. Need to hit another Bloodghast here. I failed at that. So I can bring back the Bloodghast, but I just, like, never hit a second creature that I could get from the graveyard here. Alright. I'm dead. We were so close to bringing that one back after that deep mulligan. How do I want to play this? Like, do I want to play Edicts and just use them as ways to force through my creatures versus Batterskull and Cauldra? Or do I want to play a bunch of discard and just try to, like, stop my opponent's stuff from hitting play? I probably want to just force my damage through. So let's go a little lighter on the discard here. And just, like, try to play an aggro early game against their pile of Prismatic Endings, and then just kind of hope that my, like, Bridge from Below based inevitability can be better than whatever graveyard hate they have. Alright, this has a single land. That said, I think the hand is powerful enough that I just keep it. I'm gonna assume that this game drags on for a while. God damn it. Why why can't I catch a break this league? Like, I get that I'm not exactly playing the creme de la creme as far as, like, decks go, but like 19-ish lands seems approximately like the correct number of lands. Alright, so eating a removal spell here, sure. Okay. So yeah. I meant to click on Gravecrawler there and misclicked. I simply want Gravecrawler because it has one more point of power. Did not expect the blue-white-red deck to be playing Leyline. I expected, like, Surgicals or equivalent levels of hate. I'm going to eat it so hard to a Terminus if my opponent has one. Like, not a lot I can do on that front. Go ahead and crash in. This Leyline is just disgusting, and I absolutely did not expect it. Don't know why exactly my opponent is playing Leyline. Maybe like a league optimization where they're just like, fuck it, like the leagues are so full of like Reanimator type decks right now that I want to do this. So this is going to be a Snapcaster Prismatic Ending, presumably getting my Carrion Feeder out of the way. Yep. Okay. I mean, as far as draws go, that's pretty reasonable. That just allows me to attack for 3 this turn. Um, but now I don't have insulation versus like a Stoneforge Mystic fetching a Batterskull or a... God, why do I even talk? Why do I even talk when I play these videos? Like, I think I need to rip another um, edict off the top here. Not the worst, but like assuming my opponent has any more removal here. If I discard this altar, I will still be at 0 cards in graveyard. Never mind. Why did I even ask? Alright, opponent goes to 9. And now I have to deal with Batterskull through scaling up a champion of the parish around at least 8 exiling. Oh my god. Oh my god. My opponent didn't play around Sudden Edict after already having seen Sudden Edict. What a fucking punish. Oh my god. Uh, wow. So I missed a single point of damage earlier. I just want to throw that out there. I missed 1 point of damage by playing, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. So the Sudden Edict plan is good, and it's better when your opponent doesn't play around it. Okay. On the draw, I might need to get a little bit more reactive here. If my opponent is playing these ley lines, I think I'm just going to board out these altars. Like, normally the altar is, like, a pretty realistic win condition for these sorts of decks, because, like, the games go on long. But if I'm going to have 0 ability to, like, recur my stuff... I don't know. At the same time, like, the altars can also be used to, like, send stuff into the graveyard for removal. I don't know. Is it crazy to just, like, cut all of the bridges? Like, cut all the bridges, keep these, place some number of Thoughtseizes? Like, then I just have a way to protect Bloodghasts and Gravecrawlers from exile-based removal. I lose out on some combo potential, but, like, that combo potential may be 0 if my opponent opens up on a leyline anyway. Makes the Hogaak's worse. I could also just play Rotting Regisaur to help out. We're getting into all sorts of weird territory. Like, I can just play Rotting Regisaur as just, like, a fuck it, deal with this 7/6. It's awkward. Like, do I just do that over Altar of Dementia? Rotting Regisaur isn't good against Kaldra. It's fine against Batterskull. Alright. We're getting into weird territory here. I'm gonna go down to Putrid Imp, I think. Okay. I don't know if that's boarding correctly, but it's definitely boarding. Yes? Turn 1, uncounterable Stitcher's Supplier. Turn 2, sacrifice at mill 3. Have 6 cards in graveyard, double Putrid Imp Hogaak? Yeah, we can make something work with this one way or another. Don't leyline me. Yes! Okay, opponent played a second main phase land. Thought they were gonna F6 through their turn for a second there. Oh, and Bloodghast can get involved next turn too. Nice, okay. So, Cavern Zombie, Fisher Supplier. This gets a little worse if my opponent just, like, exiles. Am I willing to give up the weird Phyrexian Tower-based turn in order to better play around, like, a Source of Plowshares effect? I think so. I think I'm willing to do that. Bell Pierce. You gave me a card. You absolutely just gave me a card there. I'm good with it. Okay, a Gravecrawler hits the bin. I'm very happy with that. Okay. So let's see how weird this turn gets. Like, it can just be a Stoneforge when they're on the play. Okay, it is. So, we'll figure out how to deal with that. It probably starts here. Alright. Let's see how batshit insane I can make this turn. Hopefully I find a therapy. Oh my god, I found a therapy. Okay. How am I casting that therapy? I don't have a bridge. Alright, so I'm going to play Phyrexian Tower. I'm always going to sacrifice this Stitcher Supplier. That just has to happen. So I always play a Putrid Imp. think I always play the Gravecrawler from the graveyard. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a Hogaak. Here is a Cabal Therapy targeting you, sacrificing the Gravecrawler, and naming the Cauldra. I'm just going to confirm Cauldra is in the reveal zone. Name Cauldra. Jitte and ending. Think we can beat that. Goodbye, you. I know my opponent's 3 cards. I can't do anything else this turn. What a turn 2. Yeah, and I can like even kind of like play around a Jitte. Yep. Okay. Ending this. Do I want to discard this Bloodghast given board? Probably. Let's junk that. All right, the ending can happen. There's now 1 unknown card. I have a Hogaak in play. Let's go Uncounterable Carrion Feeder. Play Bloodstained Mire. Return you. Make black. Play Gravecrawler. Sacrifice Gravecrawler. Play Gravecrawler. Sacrifice Gravecrawler. Fetch. Get Swamp. Return Bloodghast. Play Gravecrawler. Attack with Hogaak for 8 damage. I can't really block here against this thing unless I held back the Hogaak, but I think that's fine. Like, the Jitte's not super threatening right now. Oh, yeah. Okay, that went pretty well. This deck can do some crazy things. Like, I know the scoreboard doesn't look great right now, but, like, we have our own broken lines. I'm not very good at just, like, drawing a good 2-lander, huh? And the draw. On the draw. I'm gonna keep this on the draw. Like, I have a lot of good stuff. Oh, God, okay. Well, I can play Putrid Imp, discard a Bridge from Below, and then, like, my chump blocking doesn't matter quite as much. I can also just play Stitcher Supplier as, like, my turn 1 chump blocker instead. Yeah, I think I'll do that. The Sudden Edicts that are in the board are going to be just very good here. Okay, we get dazed. There are some timelines where I do just die this turn. See if I'm living in one of them. Scale up. So an Invigorate from here does kill me. Okay, opponent does not have it. Okay. I think I will start playing things that scale up. And I'll try to play 2 creatures that block this turn, and then deal with Gravecrawler shenanigans after that. Okay. Go Swamp. Putrid Imp. Now, the thing to be careful about with Putrid Imp is that when it picks up Threshold, it can't block anymore. So, like, that's a thing. Okay, sure. Do I have to deal with an unblockable creature now? Alright, scale up. Sure. So if my opponent has Berserk, they just kill me regardless, right? Yeah, they double up to 12, and that's that. Okay. So I will go ahead and just block with Putrid Imp and discard this Bridge from Below. Yeah, and my opponent gets the trample there and gets the turn 3 kill through a blocker. That's fine. As far as sideboarding goes, I probably need the Sudden Edicts and whatever discard I can to like punch a hole. I probably don't need the like Altar of Dementia Bridge from Below stuff quite as well. If I just stop my opponent from comboing off, I can potentially just beat my opponent to death with like 1 Hogaak or like Champion or something like that. So if I go Alter out, maybe I go like down a Bridge from Below and down a Hogaak. Actually, Putrid Imp can block. I don't get to cut those. Maybe because zombie tokens can block, I don't get to cut Bridge from Belows either, and I like cut some number of like Bloodghasts or something. Yeah. No, I think I keep all the Gravecrawlers. They're so good with Champion. Let's do that. Could also keep some Rotting Registers in the deck, but like if I'm making it to 3 mana successfully and like I'm able to cast that sort of stuff. Uh, the Thoughtseize into Sudden Edict in a vacuum is pretty good against my opponent's deck. But I have not like I have a 1/1 Putrid Imp beyond that. I think I have to mulligan this hand. Yeah. This doesn't win. Mulligan. How many cards is this? This is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or something like that. This is really hard to play. I think I get rid of the Hogaak. And I think I get rid of the Phyrexian Tower. I'm going to go with Inquisition here and try to get rid of my opponent's creatures for the early game. Okay, opponent's hand is not currently strong. I am going to get rid of the Noble Hierarch here. It's a creature which helps them to play around a Sudden Edict, which is something that I can't really have right now. And then I'll just like try to be cognizant of this daze and figure out like what I'm willing to throw into it. It's probably just the Cabal Therapy. Ooh. Yeah, so I think I go ahead and Cabal Therapy here. Oh, wow. Opponent just F6'd it. Take the Invigorate rather than the Daze. Because if I draw a land, I can just Sudden Edict. Alright, get Invigorate out of there. The only way I can die is if my opponent has an absolute batshit insane Brainstorm here. It would have to be their draw for turn. Fine. So if I don't draw a land, I will play Gravecrawler. I don't care if that gets dazed. This creature can't block, whereas this one can. Yeah. So I will play this. Okay, my opponent let it resolve, in which case I think I just Cabal Therapy them and take this daze so that my Stitcher's Supplier can block next turn. All right. Name the daze that I know they have. Okay, they've got 2 lands. That's fantastic for me. Assuming my opponent doesn't draw a Brainstorm, I would say I'm in a favored position at this juncture. Okay, that's a little scarier. That's a good top deck. Okay. So now I need to try to trade Glistener Elf for Stitcher Supplier and then Sudden Edict this off the board. So this becomes my starting point. Get Gravecrawlers, nice. Alright. So fetch this Carrion Feeder over Gravecrawler. Probably Carrion Feeder over Gravecrawler. Now Carrion Feeder can't block, obviously. Okay, opponent is fine with the trade here, which is very good for me. This sets up my Sudden Edict from working. Or to work, rather. Fine with making the trade here. Yeah, many Gravecrawlers in... Fuck! In Graveyard. Alright. Oh, this is uncomfortable. None of these creatures can block. Alright. Storm is 1. Storm is 2. Storm is 3. Go to combat. Attack for 1. Put my opponent to 18. I take 1 more point of infect damage by not just, like, Sudden Edicting to remove one of these things here. Jeez. This is absolutely just an all-out race. I'll cast this Therapy. It's really hard to hit with this, though. Maybe I'm not supposed to cast it for that reason. Name and Invigorate. Something my opponent could have. Misty. Oh god, is that the same Misty that I knew about? If so, that's a punt. Attack with all of these. 7 damage. I have 7 damage next turn as well. We're gonna have 9 next turn. Could have had 10 next turn. I'm gonna die if my opponent draws a removal spell. I can put 2 counters on this, but then my opponent just blocks it. So I think I'm better off casting a Sudden Edict. Plague Engineers in the sideboard would have been dope for this matchup, by the way, because all of these things have been errated to be Phyrexians now. Plague Engineer was something I considered for the sideboard, but didn't actually put in. Alright, opponent's just sending in there. I'll cast my Sudden Edict. I think I have to do it now. Like, it lets them know the coast is clear for a pump spell if they have it, but I think I lose to a pump spell anyway, like, kind of like regardless. 2, 4. This can block. That doesn't matter. Those are unblockable. 2, 4, 6, 7. I could make it 8 this turn. That doesn't really matter. Regardless, I probably just play this out. Alright, so I will crash in for my 7 points of damage, and then I'll get cute. Brings my opponent to 4. So then I Carrion Feeder, sacrifice a Gravecrawler, play a Gravecrawler, which also triggers the champion. Then I sacrifice another Gravecrawler and play it. I could technically get dazed here, but it doesn't feel like my opponent has that. So I am dead to any pump spell. I just have no recourse here. Like I'm tapped out. Gah! Yep. I mean, that is what it is. That qualifies as one of the any pump spells that killed me. GG's. Okay, unless I get real weird and like Cabal Therapy target myself to put a bunch of Bloodghast into the graveyard, I don't think this hand really does anything. I'm gonna go ahead and mulligan. This hand literally does nothing. Like, come on. I'll mulligan to 4. Wow. I mean, I guess on 4 I keep, right? Throw back a land at this point. Probably just to fetch. Oh god, I have to throw back one more. Cool. I guess a therapy. This is an exceptionally bad legacy hand. My opponent has mulligan to 5. Yeah. That's a little rough. I think I need to take their threat. Like, the Expressive Iteration is the card there that gives them the most value, but, like, I am not going to just live to the point where I can maybe draw out of this if I don't take that Delver. I do not want to make this uncounterable. Like, if this goes to the graveyard, it goes to the graveyard, but this Cavern of Souls needs to go on zombies for my future top decks. Miss the land, miss the land, miss the land. Okay, no shuffle, they found the land. Okay, I mean, more Bloodghasts are always cool. See if my opponent wants to save 2 life here. They do not. So they'll go to 18. I'll play another one of these, and I'm going to sandbag this land to, like, potentially return these Bloodghasts later. I also don't just want to, like, play this. Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, finishing the thought. I also don't just want to, like, play this and then, like, it get wastelanded immediately. So I probably foresee myself, like, losing this game to a Murktide Regent at some point. Like, I just don't have the density of cards that I need here in order to go and, like, do my graveyard-based shenanigans. Well, let's attack for 2. Brings my opponent to 15. Then I can return this Bloodghast. I've got a respectable clock, but I just have absolutely no gas here. So once my opponent has a Murktide Regent, or honestly, even just like a Dragon Rage Channeler, that's a 3/3, becomes a problem. Oh, that also is just like a real problem too. That will outpace my Bloodghasts. The fetch line helps though. Send them. And here come the blockers. Okay, sure. So that gut shot effectively kills both Bloodghasts, right? Because the gut shot kills one, the elemental token kills the other. Oh, wow. Okay, sure. Guess they don't want to give me that value. I'll return that. Delver is not cooperating by flipping, which is good. I need that sort of thing right now. My creatures can't block. That's fine. I go to 15. Okay. This is not bad. Like, I might be able to overpower this young Pyromancer. Like, it's very likely that my opponent is in the better position here, but, like, 10 is the big number here as far as Bloodghast is concerned, because, like, that's the point where these things get haste, and this becomes more obnoxious. So if my opponent misses a flip here... Okay, never mind. In that hypothetical world where they missed the flip, I was going to be able to pressure them quite a bit, but now they just like cantrip into cantrip into cantrip and so on and so forth, and it's pretty bad for me. This is starting to get to the point where I'll need like a Hogaak or a Bridge from Below or something to like really tip the scales in my favor. This is a very low... Oh, no, never mind. They found the Murktide Regent now. Fuck me. Okay. So I'm taking 5 here, going to 10. And I'm effectively just killed in the air by Murktide Regent. Yeah. Okay. GG. This is very awkward for me because the sudden edicts are very important for answering like the Delvers and the Murktides, but then Young Pyromancer throws that into a tizzy. Probably don't get to play Regisaur here. Just gets walled by Murktide and Pyromancer. So I want these edicts. How do I board beyond that? The Thought Seizes that cost me life probably aren't great. I'm going to junk those. And then maybe I junk 1 altar, 1 therapy. I don't know. Maybe I keep the altars. Like, it's an abrade target for my opponent, if they're bringing that in. Getting to a Hogaak is a way that I overpower a lot of non-Murktide Regent things that my opponent is doing. I will keep this hand. My opponent took 1 mulligan here, and I'll try to play Stitcher's Supplier, which in many ways is like the Black Lotus of this deck, so to speak. It's the card that can give you some of the most broken possible starts. Okay. So I think I'll go ahead and make my attack. I don't think my opponent will want to trade Delver for this. I think this is just free. Alright, it was. Then I will go Carrion Feeder, sacrifice the Stitcher Supplier. Alright, a Bridge from Below goes into Graveyard. That's fantastic. I don't need to play a fetch land here. Then I will go land into Gravecrawler. I think I am supposed to sacrifice this now. It's a little weird. But now I've played around Lightning Bolt as a removal spell on Carrion Feeder. Alright, so this Delver should now flip to a Lightning Bolt. Great, I've played around that. I guess I have not played around like that plus Gut Shot. Alright, Ragavan. That's fine. It's obviously a very good card, but working on just playing around that. Okay. Do I just like maximum Gravecrawler value, go, 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 go? I think so. I've got other lines, but this is just so much value. Sacrifice, do it again. Play regular land. Play Gravecrawler. Crash in with both of these. See if my opponent wants to block. They do. In which case, I will sacrifice this 1 more time. And I'm fine with losing the Bridge from Below at this point. Like, I have a 6/6 that plays around double Lightning Bolt and is bigger than a Murktide Regent in play. And I have, like, the ability to go wide against Young Pyromancer tokens as well. I'd also just, like, be blocking the Ragavan defensively, right? Like, I'm not going to let that hit me and let my opponent get ahead on mana. Okay, cool. That was good. Let's just do that again, right? Okay, how is this hand? This is a slow hand. It's not objectively awful in that, like, I can potentially sack these Bloodghasts to alter, but it's a little bit dirtily. I think I'm going to mulligan and try for better. That has bitten me in the butt a lot in the past, but I think I'm just going to go for it here. Let's keep this and pitch the Bloodghast and hope that this Gravecrawler-based hand can do something cool. Okay, sure. Is it a Delver? A Ragavan. That's a lot of Gravecrawler. Like, enough Gravecrawler that, like, Surgical Extraction is very worrying. Alright. Yep, don't get to block here. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Ponder is good. So Sudden Edict is probably my best draw if my opponent doesn't play another creature. Alright, Grafdigger's Cage is very good here. I will go ahead and crash in with Gravecrawler. I will play a new Gravecrawler. And I think I will play yet another Gravecrawler into Daze. I think that's just, like, gotta happen here. Okay, it has resolved. So I have 4, 5, like, big air quotes, mana towards Hogaak next turn. Okay, therapy is interesting. So Grafdigger's Cage would stop me from casting a Hogaak if my opponent... wow, Lightning Bolt my Dome? You're using double treasure token to cast Murktide? Okay, yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah. Okay. Can I do this? So, Bloodstained Mire. Okay, so attack with all my... Play Altar of Dementia. Attack with all of my creatures. The one that Murktide Regent blocks, I sack to Altar of Dementia. That mills 2, plus Bloodstained Mire. And then I Cabal Therapy as well. Okay. So if I'm going to Cabal Therapy, I probably do that first and name like a Force of Will. Or maybe Daze. Because a Daze would undo my Altar of Dementia here. God damn it. Yeah. I mean, I still think it's my line, unfortunately. If this gets countered, then the Hogaak might not get countered. Oh, it worked. And these all in. Altar of Dementia. Choose me. Sacrifice this creature. Find the Hogaak. Alright. So, how do I win now that my opponent just gets to counter this Hogaak whenever I do it? Take 7 here. I don't know how I stop both Murktide Regent and Ragavan with a single card. Like, yeah, that would have been real good. If I can't cast this Cabal Therapy due to Grafdigger's Cage, I can get a Hogaak, and then it gets Force of Willed. Yep, okay, I am dead. That's disappointing. So we end up with a 1-4 in this league. Overall thoughts on the deck? Better than a 1-4 on average, I would say. Like, this whole Champion of the Perished, Bridge from Below, Gravecrawler interaction is super cool. Like, we absolutely got stomped on this league. Like, that's fine. That is what it is. But I think there is something here with this card. Like, there's a couple of very powerful starts involving, like, the Carrion Feeders and the Stitcher Suppliers and the Champion of the Perished that are just absolutely silly and, like, screenshot worthy. This league did not go well, but I think this didn't go well because my opening hands were just atrocious. Like, this is probably the highest density of mulligans I've had in a league in the past year. Maybe there's some deck design things that are off. Like, I didn't run the numbers on, like, number of lands in opening hands that I wanted or anything like that. But, like, the list looks reasonable at a glance. I think you can mess around with some of these numbers and end up in some cool places. And for those of you that have ideas, like, I encourage you, please throw them in the comments. We're not always going to be the best at dealing with some things, like as we saw versus something like Chalice of the Void. Like, being a mono black deck, we can have some trouble. But you could also port the general idea of, like, building a Champion of the Perished based deck into a 2-color deck pretty easily. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed watching me get bullied. If you did, click the like button. If you have any thoughts, throw them in the comments. And have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya.